investor investing in the Nigerian real estate market, and you're interested in having access to information that would help you make informed decisions about your investments in the Nigerian real estate market. Okay, if you fall into this category or you're an intending investor, I want to urge you to watch this video to the end, because in this video you will have access to so many information that would help you make the right informed decision in this real estate market. Hi guys, my name is GoodnessUsman. Of course, I'm your Power Lady Realtor for Niger Realty 24/7, and welcome to another episode on Tea Talk with Goodness Usman. So yes, you know how we do it, right? Yes, you need to sit down, relax, get your cup of coffee or your cup of tea just like me, or a glass of water or a glass of wine, and then let's have this interesting conversation just the way we used to. All right, so are you guys ready? Who is excited? Who is ready to get some information that will help them make the best informed decision? But before I go on, how about we sip our tea, water, or wine, or coffee? Let's go. Oh, okay. All right, so yes, in today's episode, we'll be talking about which location are investors investing in the Nigerian real estate market, particularly in Lagos State, and why. Now, I'll take it again. We will be discussing where are investors investing, where is the location, particular locations that they are investing in Lagos market, and why. So, like I said earlier, it is important that you watch this video to the end. So if you are watching right now and you're probably distracted by work or family or stuff, I want to encourage you to probably download this or put it in your watch to watch later, and then come back and watch it when you're more relaxed so that you can get all of these details. Wow. All right, so yes, you might be wondering, so where is it that investors, where are they investing? Goodness, I've gotten this question a lot. So where are they investing? Are they truly investing, or it's just mere speculation from realtors and some property, real estate property developers? I know a lot of you have this thought in your mind, and I'm here this day to help you clear or just give you clarity to all of these questions. So yeah, where are investors investing in Lagos? First of all, it is no longer news that Abejukolo is that area, that fast growing houses that investors are invested in. And this is just not mere investors, including not just Nigeria or local investors, including international investors and the government. Everyone are becoming, we have a lot of rather stakeholders in this location. So yes, I know that you all know about Abejukolo, but today I'm still going to talk about some reasons why people are still investing in Abejukolo, and I have a tip on this subject matter at the end of this video. So it's important that you watch this video to the very end. All right, so let's move on. Apart from Abejukolo, we have Ekpe. So I'm going to pick these locations all the way backward. Okay. Now, what I mean by that is I will start from the Lekki houses downward to the list, which is Ekpe, just for the sake of this conversation. Meaning, why I said it's to the list, okay? Right, so we all know that investment had moved downtown. Now, I use this, please, the phrases, some of these phrases I'll be using in this video, you all know, is not really exactly a general phrase, okay? It's just the way I choose to call this particular part of Lagos. So some of us call from Ajah downward Ekpe downtown, and I think largely some people call it downtown because the uptown, of course, is the Lekki, Ikoyi, VI, access. Okay, that's on the island. So some of you who are not familiar with Lagos State, let me also quickly chip in. Now in Lagos State, we have two different major categories: island and mainland. So some are some are familiar with it, but if just in case you're not familiar with it, so I hope this comes as information, a piece of useful information for you. So we have the island part and we have the mainland part. Now, the island part seems to be the more of the sophisticated, luxurious. That's where you find a lot of luxury homes, way more than the mainland. So a lot of people want to invest on the island, live on the island more than the mainland if they have the opportunity. However, we also still have strong mainlanders, and no matter what you say about the island, they still prefer their mainland anytime, any day. So if you are a mainlander, how about you give me a shout out in the comment section, because I'm saying the shout out right away to you. Anyway, so those are the two categories of the parts of Lagos that we have. However, on the island, the Lekki Ikoyi Axis seems to be called the uptown, but then we have the tours after Chevron downward all the way to Abejukolo is now popularly called as downtown. Some people call it downtown, some don't. But just for the sake of this conversation, let's use that. Now, when it comes to investment, when it comes to development has actually gone downtown. That is from Ajah downward to Ekpe. So I'm back again. Where are investors investing? Investors are heavily investing all the way to the downtown. And what is that major reason why investors are investing in this downtown part of town? Because of the huge, massive development driving downtown. Just the way it sounds. So in the last 6 years, in the last 5 to 6 years, there is a huge, massive development that has happened and has shifted the focus of every investor towards this part of town. Now, if you were to buy a property in Ajah Axis in the last 5 years, a C of O land from a developer, a real estate developing company, you'll find it around 7, 5, 8 million naira, even 5 to 7 million naira is the rate that you get. I think some people even bought at 3.5 million naira when there was promo splashes and all of that. That's about 6, 7 years ago. But right now, if you want to invest in Ajah Axis, you will have the rate of 40 million naira, all inclusive, right thereabout. But then you have to spend 40 million naira for you to buy a plot of land measuring 500 square meters in Ajah Axis. Now let's move away from buying in an estate. Now, if you even want to buy in an Omo Onile, depending on where exactly in Ajah you're buying from, because of course, Ajah also have different parts to it. I've talked about it before, but let me just quickly briefly mention it. We have the Ajah Badore Axis. We have the main Ajah, which is by the Lekki Ekpe Expressway, where we have numerous prestigious estates like the Royal Garden Estate. We have the popular Thomas Estate. There's Budo. There's quite a number of estates on this Ajah part. And then we have the off Abramadesoya part, which is the Okun Ajah part. And then it leads you into Ogombo. That's the other part of Ajah. So this is the 3 basic parts of Ajah. Of course, like I mentioned, the first one, the Adobadore Axis as well. So market in Adobadore is not as blooming as the Ajah Axis, the Ajah Lekki Ekpe Expressway Axis, and the off Abramadesoya. So if you want to talk about where exactly in Ajah investors are going into right now that is really blooming and doing so well right now is the Okun Ajah off Abramadesoya Okun Ajah Axis. Right now, that road is big for investors. It has really opened up. I mean, I can remember that 3 years ago, a client of mine bought Meridian Boulevard in Okun Ajah for 17.5 million naira. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, it is selling for 40 million naira. 3 years. Now let's do a quick math. How much is the interest rate? I mean, this is over 100 ROI in 3 years. Over 100 ROI. So you will see that this market is actually booming, like I said. Now let's move away from the Ajah. We'll go towards Shango Tedo. If you want to buy a titled land in Shango Tedo now, you will still have about 30 million naira for you to buy a titled CO land. And still depending on which part of Shango Tedo. Because if you're buying very close to the road, it's way, way more expensive than that. However, if you're going off the Monastery Road, in some street, you will buy at the rate of 30, 35 million naira as well. If you maybe some might do a promo, you buy at 20 something thousand million naira, but that also varies. It means if you're getting anything around 20 million naira, it means you're going to do a lot of sand filling, or probably the title is not a seal. So now, what is happening in these locations is that lands are becoming more and more scarce. Ajah has this, Shongotedo has this, downward. They are becoming very scarce. Let me quickly also chip in that in Royal Garden, one of the most prestigious, luxurious estates that is home for elites, the wealthy, so to speak, in Ajah, is you cannot get a plot of land less than a 150,000 naira, 50 million naira. Yes, you heard me right. Of it, maybe 490 something square meter, less than a 600 square meter, will be going as that rate. And I remember stories being told that a lot of those investors back then, less than about a decade ago, bought those land at 5 million naira, some bought at 7 million naira. And they had to wait for a long time before that estate came to be what it is now. Now, that is another topic for another day. Anyway, let's move forward. So, downward Shongotedo, we have Abejukolo. Abejukolo is the next place that investors are investing in so much right now. If you look at online marketings from different realtors, real estate companies, you will realize that one or two of them have a property right now selling in Abejukolo. So you beg to wonder, what is happening in this Abejukolo? Yes, Abejukolo is the next place investors are going in to buy land, to buy houses. Now, if you check very well, lands are also becoming extremely scarce and expensive in Abejukolo. Why? Because people who no longer can afford Ajah, can afford Shongotedo, they now move to Abejukolo, right? Now, Abejukolo is becoming expensive as well. So for you to get a titled verifiable land for sale in Abejukolo, it will cost you almost a hammer on the leg, in the range of 20 million naira as well. The only thing you'll find way cheaper is those without title. All right, so something without title, you'll find them around 7-8 million naira because they have no title at all, which is not so safe to invest in as far as I am concerned. But you have houses at very affordable rates right now that are up for sale with payment plan in these locations. Now, moving from Abejukolo, we have Awoyaya. So for those who do not even know these areas, this is also a good video for you to know how these areas are. Right? So when you leave Abejukolo, by the way, is a very lovely place as far as I'm concerned in terms of location. And it's also very close to Shongotedo. It's just a very sharing border with Shongotedo. And it's very small location. It's not as big as Ajah and then Shongotedo. So yeah, one of the reasons why I love it is actually the most hottest location in the market right now. Abejukolo is hot in terms of properties for sale and then in terms of affordability. Now, moving downwards, you approach after Abejukolo, you have Awoyaya. Now, Awoyaya is way bigger, as big as almost Shongotedo, but not as small as Awoyaya. Just to know that. Yes, Awoyaya is another destination for investors, and trust me, there are very small. So Awoyaya has to be is that location that has very limited estates in it. They have more of the local, traditional, old kind of estates in more of it in Awoyaya. Unlike Ajah, Shongotedo, Abejukolo, where you have more of estates, especially Shongotedo and Ajah, where you have a lot of estates, porch secured estates. Awoyaya does not have much of that, but I'm beginning to see a lot coming up now, which is exciting for me as a realtor. So yes, in Awoyaya now you still get, okay, now let me say this. If you can no longer, investors who no longer can afford to buy a plot of land in Shongotedo, Ajah for 40 million naira, their next destination is Awoyaya. Because if you cannot afford to buy those places, the best thing for you to do right now, and you cannot find a titled land in Abejukolo, the next location for you is Awoyaya. And what I foresee, ladies and gentlemen, is that Awoyaya soon will be as hot as Abejukolo. If you look around every property that is been marketed around all over social media, you will notice that there are just very few numbers of houses and land for sale in Awoyaya. Now, you beg to wonder what's happening, apart from the reason I stated earlier. There's not much happening, but it doesn't also necessarily mean that there are lands available in Awoyaya. No, there are no more lands available in strategic locations. So it's gonna be a lot of the lands available are usually off the Lekki Ekpe Expressway. So you have to drive maybe 2 minutes drive down off the road or 5 minutes off the road. That is if you are buying a titled land. Remember, I'm always big on buying investors buying titled land, C of O, Excision, Gazette, which is fantastic by the way. So you have places like Pig Bungalow is the most popular estates, one of the most rather popular estates in Awoyaya. So you have Pig Bungalow 3 in Awoyaya, and then you have land for sale there. Now in Pig Bungalow 3, they still have a plot of land for sale for 300 square meters, around 6 million naira. Yeah, the 450 square meter is 9 million naira, and of course the 600 square meter is for sale for 12 million naira. Now this is a titled land, C of O. Guess what? There are limited plots available in this estate. I seems cannot find any other estates available around there that sells land and then houses. Like I said, Awoyaya seems to be a bit of few. So I won't be surprised if in the middle of the year more estates springs up in Awoyaya. I hopefully look forward to that. Now, if you leave Awoyaya, you then have Oribanwa, you have Ekutu, and then you move downwards to Eluju and all of those places. Eluju, if you're wondering where is Eluju, Eluju is one of those places where we have, that location where we have Pig Bungalow 4, for those who have not heard about it. Pig Bungalow 4 sold, and then now it's sold out, but they have land for sale there for 10 million naira for 600 square meter. Alright, so then you now enter Abejukolo proper. Of course, after the Eluju, Alashia, I kind of don't know, those names are yet to be very popular. Then you now, where the next popular place after the Eluju is definitely it is Eleko. Now between the Eluju to Eleko is where we have the Gracias Morganites, and then you can now from the Eleko junction, you off the Amen Estate, off the Eleko Road, you then go proper into the Abejukolo, where you have so in that off that Eleko Road you have two options. Is that you go towards where you have the Eleko Beach, which you have numerous estates there. There used to be beachfront, Queen's Garden, and so many in that as a lot of those lands there are sold out. But you also go into the Abejukolo proper, where you have the Dangote refinery, you have the seaport, etc., etc. Now, if you're not off that Eleko Road, you want to go straight down to the Lekki Ekpe Express Road, which leads you into Ekpe proper. That's where investors are going all the way. Now, Ekpe also has different parts to it. I promise that on a later day, I'm going to do a video that talks about the different locations in Ekpe. Now, if you're entering into Ekpe, towards the Alaro City, there's so many estates springing up now on that Lekki Ekpe Expressway, where we have places like the Ivory Chestnut, you have the Amen Estate Phase 3. Amen Estate Phase 3 is not on the road though. It is off the road, about 5 minutes drive thereabouts, off the road. Okay, but you have Ivory Chestnut on the road, facing the Lekki Ekpe Expressway. I think some other estates are springing out as we speak. And then towards the Alaro City, of course, off the road is where we have the Lagoon Front. And then into Ekpe proper, you begin to have a lot of estates, the ones around the Igbola, where you have the ones around the St. Augustine University, where you have people like, I think Excel Garden is selling for 1.2 million. The Aziz, where you have the Mujoda Aziz, where they linking the border between Ogun State and Lagos State, where you have the Richfield Prime View for 1.2 as well. You know, there are so many offers for sale in Ekpe. Now, I've taken you stylishly through the numerous places you can invest in this downtown. Now, let's talk about why investors are going into this downtown. Now, this why, you might probably seen these whys from different people. A lot of people have different opinions about this. So this is my view about it. And this is out from my experience on the job. Now, I think why the major reason why every smart investor out there are investing in these areas are because these areas gives guarantees to high return on their investment. Everyone investing right now is out to have a chunk of ROI. I mean, why are we investing? Anyway, you're investing in the world, of course, you're investing because you want to get high return on your investment. So the major reason you have investors both locally and internationally investing in these assets I just mentioned which I use quote unquote downtown, is because they want to get high return on their investment, and majorly because when you are investing as an investor, the fast growing locations are best advised that you go invest in, because development is coming into these areas. And then when you sit there early as an investor and you invest early, you're going to get high return, you're going to maximize your return, from somebody who is a late buyer. So if you're an early investor, you're buying cheaper, you're going to get high return on your investment in the later years. And of course, it is important that I state that most of these locations are still a bit of a long-term investment, depending on what you're investing in. Some is still on the short term of between 2 years, but majorly from Abejukolo all the way to Ekpa is still around they are still long-term investment. Now, having said that first point, I need to also state that as much as a lot of you look at Abejukolo as one long-term higher statements of in 10 years time nothing's going to be happening there, in 20 years time, 2 decades, nothing's going to be happening, and when I said I don't agree with that. Yes, a lot of you are especially Nigerians in diaspora, you only check on the internet and see what is happening. You can't compare your view to we that were here and we go to these places week in, week out. The things that we see springing up look so not much, but trust me, they are huge. And when the market's going to bloom, it's going to be like a huge surprise to some people, because it's going to come shorter than expected, so to speak. All right, so the other reason, that's the major reason, by the way, why investors are entering into this market. They just want to sit there, maximize their profit, being part of the early birds. Some people are already late birds when it comes to Ajah investment, but it still does not mean that if you invest in Ajah now, you will not get high return on your investment, or if you invest in Shangotedo, you won't get a return. You will definitely get return on your investment compared to other parts of Lagos. So like I normally say that a lot of people want to invest on the island more than the mainland. It also does not mean that the mainland does not have return on the investment. It's just that largely you have more on the island when you invest in some part, the fast growing part of the island. Because if you go invest in Lekki now, buy a plot of land in Lekki, I don't know, it's kind of saturated, There are specific kind of investments you will do in Ikoyi, Lekki, VI markets that you will maximize your profits, that will give you return. So it's specific. It's not a generic. Don't go buy land in Lekki and just assume. There are specific kind of investment you will do in those locations, because they are already reached their peak in terms of a general investment. So it differs what you're going to do. So if you're going to invest in that market, you have to be careful and you have to thought it through, do your research well on what exactly you want to do and how you're going to get a return on your investments. So this is just to clear, because a lot of international investors are sitting in these locations and they don't even want to come downtown. So peradventure, if you're watching this video and you still believe in that part of the market, it's still okay. But however, I want to advise you to tap into this fast-growing town, downtown. Before you know it, it will be almost completely out of reach for some set of people. It is already, Ajah now is becoming out of reach for some people. And also, let me state that even rental income in the last 2 years, from 2020 till now, the rate at which the rental income has doubled. If you want to rent a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom duplex, 4-bedroom duplex in Ajah, averagely in Thomas Estate, now you have to have like 4 million naira. It's from 4 million naira upward. Come on, that's about the rates in Ekate, right? In Ekate right now, you will get the 4 million naira duplex, the terrace for 4 million naira with a BQ. So Ajah is thereabouts matching up with this location. Before you know it, open your eyes and close, you will have Ajah almost at the rate with Lekki Phase 1. It's not yet there, but it's getting closer. So what's that saying to you as an investor? You should maximize your investment opportunities in these areas, this downtown, because what is happening is huge. Now, one of the other reasons you should know why investors are investing in this part of town is the rate at which people migrate into this part of town daily. The rate at which people migrate into this part of town daily is massive. It's almost alarming, if I'm allowed to use the word. Because even we that I live in Ajah, and the traffic, the numbers of cars on the road, the numbers of people you see in public places, supermarkets, cinemas, even if you go to the hospital, the number of people you see 4 years ago is not the same as this year. I mean, it's completely alarming. You wonder, where are these people coming from? Why is there so many people here? Even in churches, you see churches now having they're creating new branches, they're opening new branches, they're opening new, and you're wondering, there's expansion in almost all the churches that I know. They're expanding almost every month. Why? These are the things you would know that will give you, these are facts that shows that these houses are highly populated. Migration is happening into Lagos. You know how it is, how everybody sees Lagos as the place of opportunity, which is not a lie. I mean, if you're in Lagos gives you, it's just a home of opportunity, right? So graduates, non-graduates, people from secondary school went to leave secondary school, they just want to come into Lagos. People, when they're done with their education, they just want to come back into Lagos. People, when they're done for serving, they just want to come back. Even people working want to transfer to Lagos. So everyone wants to live in Lagos, just like Lagos is popularly called the London of UK. It's just like a London, like the opportunity of going to London. So people see Lagos as that, that's the way some people see it, they view it. So, ladies and gentlemen, the rate at which people are migrating into this part of Lagos, don't forget. Let's not forget the fact that they also migrate in other parts of Lagos. But the rate at which they come to, in fact, there's this migration that happens within Lagos that's funny to me. Everybody wants to live on the island. So the people living on the mainland, they are doing so much, try to upgrade their status, coming to live on the mainland. So that's why you will see why rents are increasing, cost of living in this part of town is becoming alarming. Some people can no longer afford to live in Ajah, in Shangote, though it's becoming more tough. So that's why you see that Awoyaya now pays, if you want to rent a 3-bedroom in Awoyaya right now, a decent 3-bedroom house, if you don't have up to ₦1 million, between 700 and 1 million naira, how much people now pay to rent a house in Awoyaya is becoming very expensive. And I wonder, what is happening? What is happening? The answer to that question is population. The increase in population, the increase in demand is higher than supply. So you all know, as an investor, one of the reasons why you should invest, why people are investing, is because there's higher increase in demand than supply. So where there is a higher increase in demand and a lower supply, you as an investor should smartly swoop into action and go in there. There you will have the opportunity to maximize on your investment. Maximize your profit. So yes, you now leave Awoyaya, you're going to Ekutu, you're going to Oribangwa. Those are where you find some flats for 400,000 naira, 500,000 naira. Mind you, if you want to rent a house in all of these places I'm talking to you about, and you get to a property, you like the property, and you go and say, I'm going to get back to you in 2 days' time. Trust me, when you're back in 1 day time, you will no longer find that property. Is that crazy? So, of course, when we go off Elekor, proper Abejukolo and Ekwe, we're not talking about rental income here, right? So if you want to earn rental income, you are going to be earning rental income all the way from Ikate down to Ekutu or Ribangwa. But if you're investing in Abejukolo, like I said, there's still long term, right? So Abejukolo, Ekwe is still, because there are high return on investment. But I want you to also note this, that whatever has been coming from Ajah, Ikate downward, Ajah, downward Ekwe, Ikate downward, Ajah, Shangote, all the way to Awoyaya, Ekutu, as is gonna catch up with Ekwe over time. And please, do not think that over time is a very long time. Now, people make these statements, like I said earlier, that place, nothing's gonna happen in 10 years' time. Now, when we talk about a decade, it looks like it's forever. So let me explain. Let me explain, or open your eyes to why a decade is not forever. Do you guys remember when we entered into 2010? And when we talk about 2020, it seems to be like, oh, it's far. When did we enter into 2020? And ladies and gentlemen, we're in 2022. So, what I'm saying is, in the blink of an eye, if God keeps us alive and grants us good health, 2030 is not far fetched. It is in no distance at all. We're going to see 2030, God willing. So, what am I saying to you? Even if EPA is going to be come into fully blossom in 2030, how about you buy now? How about you sit down there now and then, maximize your return on this investment in 2030? You will be smiling to the bank at that point, because imagine when people tell the stories of how they bought Ajah at 5 million naira, and you wonder, oh my God, where was I? Some people even have the money to buy it, but they're like, Ajah, who lives in Ajah? Is a swampy place? There's a lot of news, there's a lot of statements we've heard about this location. So what I'm saying to you is, even if Abejukolo is going to come into full commercialization, full habitation, it's full habitation in 2030. Let's use this for the sake of this conversation, right? So it's still not so bad, because 2030 is just going to be here, like in a snap of a finger. So yes, it's a long-term investment, but it is important that you buy now before it becoming far-fetched for you, before it becomes completely out of your reach. So in Awoyaya now, you're buying a mansionate for 17 million naira. How much do you think it will be selling in 2030? Exactly. You're buying a plot of land now in Ekpe, untitled one, for 1.7 million, 1.2 million naira. How much will it be sold in 2030? You're buying Eleko Gracias Mogadai for 12.5 million naira. In 2030, 2025, how much will it be sold? You have the answers. So yes, as an investor, investors know that these investments are long-term, and there are huge advantages to buying on a long-term basis. So if you are an investor investing on a long-term basis, it also requires patience. You have to be patient. Okay? So please don't invest. One of the tips is, you don't invest. I don't advise investors to invest in a long-term location with the insight of a short term, or a mindset of a short term, because you're just going to have unnecessary anxiety for yourself. Create, rather, unnecessary anxiety for yourself, and that's not healthy, right? All of these locations I just highlighted, this is what I know that is happening there. Lands are gradually becoming scarce. So if you're an investor watching me and you intend to buy more of lands, I think you should start acquiring them, as many as possible now, especially in these locations that are still at your reach. Where you can still buy in Abejukolo, you can still buy in Ekpe, especially where the prices are still pretty much affordable. In fact, I think Awoyaya is also affordable right now. You can buy a plot of land for 12 million naira, a sea of whole land for 12 million naira. So Ekputu 10 million, what's it where you have a big bungalow for 10 million naira per plot, Eleko 12.5, Hybrid Chestnut around 10, 8 million naira, Lagoon Front, down into Ekpe proper. So yes, you should start buying as many as possible before these lands are no longer at your reach or are no longer affordable. All right, thank you guys for watching this video to the very end. I really, really appreciate you. So before I go, please don't forget that if you're watching my video, if you have a property that is up for sale and you have searched through my videos, you can't find it, you can call me, reach out to me. Let's find out if that property is a go for you. I can do the research for you and then get you to invest in the property if it's a good one. Don't forget, the properties, the lands that are up for sale, that are scarce in the market, are titled lands. Fake lands, untitled land are plenty in the market. Okay, so watch out and ensure that you invest more in titled land, especially in Abejukolo. Ekpa, you can still do freehold, but anything that is not free is not good for you. All right, thank you so much for watching the video to the end. I'll see you guys in the next episode or in my next video. But before I go, don't forget to subscribe. Help me show us some love. Help us get to 10,000 subscribers before the middle of the year, before this quarter runs out, by the way. I know you guys can do it, so please help us. Help us subscribe, share this video. Importantly, share this video to your friends, family, business associates, so that they can learn the few things that you have learned in this video. Like I said, I hope you find this video very informative and insightful. If you do, please put it in the comment section. Encourage me. Let me know. You commenting how insightful this is or how informative this is will help me to do more. It's a ginger to me. Yes, it's a ginger to me and my team. So do that for me and I will be glad. If you have any further inquiries on properties, please let me know as well. Don't forget, not just you investing as an investor on the island only. You can invest on the mainland, and there are great properties for you to invest on the mainland that will still give you high return. Maybe not as much as your island, but trust me, some people will not live on the highland no matter how much you hype it. They will still live on the mainland, which says this to you, that there are still demands on the mainland as well, and they have low supply when it comes to housing, renting, places to rent, places to live. It's becoming very, very difficult. So yeah, you have a demand on the mainland as well. So invest also on the mainland. You can ask me for the properties that are up for sale in that location, and I'll be glad to give you the details and to help you invest in those properties. Thank you once again. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to remain awesome just the way you are, because I know that you are an awesome person. Even though I've not met quite a lot of you, maybe you've not even reached out to me before, but you've been watching my video. I know that you're awesome. See you in the next video or when you give me a call. But right now, I really have to go. So I say, oh, double.